And welcome back to the Financially Simple Experience. Friends, I got to tell you, I'm excited about my guest today. You know, we've been doing this podcast now for some 4 or 5 years, and there's this one area of business that, if we're honest with ourselves as business owners, that we just don't understand. You hear me harp on it day in, day out, and that's this area of marketing. You know, marketing gets a bad rap for us business owners. Why? Well, oftentimes we don't have a marketing plan. But more importantly, what we do is we go to a conference, we talk to our friends at a coffee shop, on the golf course, on the fishing boat, like I would probably be. We talk to our friends and they say, yeah, I just did this. Whatever this is, maybe it's a Facebook campaign, maybe it's a billboard, maybe it's a postcard mailer, whatever it is. And it worked magnificent for them in their micro environment. But yet when we throw our dollars at it, the results are dismal. And we get this attitude as business owners that, man, screw it, marketing just doesn't work. Now, you and I both know as business owners, if we're honest with ourselves, that's not true. If it were true, then someone like Apple wouldn't spend billions of dollars a year. I mean, everybody on earth knows Apple, right? But here they are spending billions of dollars a year talking about marketing. Well, today I'm excited to have Mr. Luke Acree with Reminder Media. Reminder Media here joining us today. His company is powerful. I have personally used their product in the past, and he'll speak about their product throughout the day. But I've asked him here today to talk about the Raving Fan. Luke, brother, how are you doing today, man?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic. I love your energy. I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Well, when I heard you give the talk, the Raving Fan, a few months back, I mean, your energy was paramount. I think we can match each other in our energy because we're passionate about what we do. And as a business owner yourself, I know, I got to believe, I'm on a limb here, but I have to believe at some point, even in your career, you said, man, this marketing thing doesn't work. So you understand what our business owner clients were thinking. So before we dive into this talk that I want you to dive into with the Raving Fan, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell the team about yourself, our audience about yourself, and what's led you to be so passionate about marketing.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity. It is something because I own a marketing company, right? And even myself in marketing my marketing company, marketing can sometimes be the most brutal part of business. I'll take you guys back. I'll try not to bore you. I'll give you the short version. So I grew up in a family of 8 kids. I was homeschooled. It's something unique to me. I was homeschooled all the way to college. My dad was a pastor, still is. So I was one of those preacher kids, right? And I actually thought I was going to be a rock star musician. So I had a band with my brothers. We did music from 13 years old to 19. Taught me a ton about influencing people and audience. The band broke up because of love. Ended up going to community college because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Did a computer certificate. And so it's a certificate in technology, but realized I like computers, transferred to a 4-year university, got my degree in computer science. In college, started a website business with my brother. So that was my first venture into business, started a website business doing graphic design, websites for small businesses, churches, mom and pop shops. My uncle, who is now actually my partner in crime, he had started a print company about 18 years ago called Reminder Media. It's the company that we run together today. And he was kind of like a mentor to me at the time. I was running Nextmark Design. He was running Reminder Media, but he reached a point in his journey where I think a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to this, is just the point of burnout. Life is a roller coaster ride, but if you're in business, it's really a roller coaster. And he just wasn't sure what he wanted to do next. He convinced me, why don't we join forces? And about 11 years ago, almost 12 years ago, we joined forces together. And man, God's blessed us. It's grown to now we have over 300 employees. We have worked with about 100,000 small business owners. Our specialty is in this idea of how do you create raving fans out of your database? And every business knows they have to keep in touch. The question is not should you, it's just how. How do you do it effectively? Our goal is to step in and create automated touch points that go out for your clients that are high quality, but most importantly, produce return on investment. And that's really where our heart and soul is. And to lead it up to today, man, it's been crazy because we work not only in 140 industries, but it's really taking off in the financial industry. Insurance and financial advisors are really starting to thrive using our products and our systems. And that's what's fueling me now to really take it to the next level in this business.
Man, that's exciting. So I don't know if you knew this. I was homeschooled my whole life.
Oh my
So
God.
I'm right there with you. I often laugh about it. I'm the kid that walks up to the door that says pool and I push on it, right? I mean, that's the way we homeschoolers were. So that's
Exactly.
exciting. The other thing is, it's interesting you grew up as a preacher's kid. My mom and dad actually drafted me or tried to draft me to be in the ministry. I went to a Christian college right out of high school to a pastoral college, and it just wasn't for me. It wasn't where I felt the leading that I needed to go. And so I entered the business world. So I know exactly where you're at. And as far as bands go, so I play a couple of different instruments, and I always want to have this band. In fact, we were laughing about it here in the office here recently. We're talking about the name of bands. Well, in the Bible, I think it's the book of Mark, it talks about this band of lewd fellows. I always thought it'd be a cool name of band of lewd fellows. I don't know why, but maybe in my next life, I'll start a band. I mean, it will be, trifecta here in alignment.
Love it. Love it.
So your business right now is not a small business. I mean, you're dealing with over $300 million in sales, and you're on the Inc. 5,000 fastest growing companies. You're in Philadelphia's top 100 places of work. So you know what you're talking about. And as you're looking at this game of marketing as a business owner, as somebody who's been in the seat, riding the horse, as I often say, we get tired. We get drawn down. As we're thinking about raving fans, and that is the premise that we're driving toward in our conversation. Before we get there, man, what excites you? What makes you get up every morning and just kind of step into that seat and go forward?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, for me personally, right, and I think everybody has their own why. Mine is, it ties right into our vision statement as an organization. So our vision as an organization is to empower entrepreneurs to live a life of freedom. How we do that. So when you think about a vision statement, your vision statement is how you want to see the world. So this, maybe you'll never achieve it, but you want to move closer and closer to that you've made that impact on the world. When I leave, I hope people say about Luke Acree, man, he empowered people to live a life of freedom. Now, for me personally, it's not just in entrepreneurship. It's in, my faith and my relationships and all that stuff. But the mission that we do every single day to achieve that, your mission is what you tactically do every day to achieve your vision. Our mission is to empower our clients to close more deals and retain more business, because when they do that, guess what happens? They get a commission check. And when they get a commission check, they get to take their vacations that they want to take, send their kids to the schools they want them to go to. So what inspires me every single day, really what gets me going even more than the money, and money's great, right? We all like making a lot of money as business owners, is the impact I get to have on this idea of empowering people to be able to live the life that they want to live. And one of the biggest pain points for people is marketing, because they constantly spend their money on things that don't produce return. And they sit there wondering, and how many of us have bought a system that we haven't used, right? You buy the gym membership, you never use it, but you don't turn it off because you know you need it, but you're just frustrated. So it excites me to solve that problem for people.
So we're talking about this term raving fans, and hearing the excitement of your vision, your mission. I think that's a perfect segue into, and I'm just going to ask the question and let you take it whichever way you want to take this, and I'll take some notes and do some follow-up question. But what is a raving fan? Your definition. What is your definition of a raving fan? And more importantly, how do we create those? How do we craft those? How do we empower our clients to embody that raving fan persona?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I want to make sure people understand that the reason why I believe it's all about raving fans is, if I back up a little bit, I believe the currency of business is on relationships. Like if you look at the best businesses in the world, they're the best at building great relationships. And a raving fan to me is someone that has such an incredible experience with you, has such an incredible relationship with you, that they cannot help but tell others about it. Now, the thing I tell people about raving fans is it goes both ways, right? You can have raving fans in the positive, which is what we all want, but you can also have raving fans in the negative, right? You think about restaurants. This is so common for restaurants. People go to a restaurant, they expect a good meal, they expect fast service, they expect the food to be right. And if they don't have that experience, they go and rave about it on Yelp in a negative way. So you can also have raving fans in a negative way that you want to protect against. And the reason why I share that kind of differentiation is because if you think about negative raving fans and positive raving fans, what is it that causes them? What is it that causes someone to become a raving fan? And when I've looked into this over and over and over again, what I've come down to summarize it in is when the unexpected happens, that's how you can turn somebody into a raving fan. So the negative side is when you expect to have a good service at the restaurant, you expect the meal to be cooked right, the steak to be cooked right, and it doesn't happen. It was unexpected. And so you went and raved about it negatively. The same applies for creating positive raving fans. See, most of us make the mistake, especially in the financial services world. If you're a financial advisor right now, the biggest mistake you're probably making is you're probably doing a great job managing that person's portfolio, helping give them advice on their future financially. But here's the reality. They're not raving about you. You're missing out on referrals because they expect you to do that. And the example I always give to people is imagine going into your room this morning, flipping on the light switch, the lights come on, and you literally go, oh my gosh, I cannot believe the lights just came on. You would never do that, right? I see you laughing. You'd never do that because you expect it. You expect when you walk into a room and flip on the light switch for the lights to come on. When your clients come to you and you do a great job investing my money or helping me plan for my future or whatever your service is, if you're listening to this, they're not going to rave about that. They expect it. That's what they're paying you for. So the magic really lies in how do you do the unexpected within your process of servicing these clients. So a good example that I love to give is like a Chick-fil-A, right? Chick-fil-A, we all know Chick-fil-A because they're freaking addicting. It's great food. I can't help myself, man. I've gained pounds because of Chick-fil-A. But if you think about Chick-fil-A, why is it so special? Well, if you look into their business model, Dan Cathy and how they started the company and what they tried to breed into this company was, hey, we want to take a Ritz-Carlton type experience to fast food. And when you go to fast food, McDonald's, Taco Bell, Burger King, we all know them. You do not expect to get a polite person at the register that's happy and joyful. You don't expect to get your food all the way that great, right? Because you know what you're getting when you go there. Chick-fil-A has blown you away. Why? Because when you go there, why is it that everybody seems happy? How do they get everybody to say my pleasure? Not only that, if you think about like their drive-through lines during the pandemic, how amazing is it to watch their business shift? And they go, how do we take a drive-through line and do the unexpected? In a drive-through line, you expect that you're going to have to wait in line. You're going to be behind every car. What did they do? No, they decided to do the unexpected. They put people out there with iPads coming up to you while you're waiting, swiping through. I'm harping on this point because it's so powerful. Because why? Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays and they make more money than every other fast food place does in 7 days and 6, right? And they've created a tribe that stands up for them, that constantly goes to them, that raves about them. And that's something to me that I go, okay, how do you create unexpected experiences in your business? And I have a framework I can walk you through for marketing, but I'll stop there because I was rambling a little bit.
No, that's very good. So raving fan, if I could summarize, is the way I heard it as a business owner, is a raving fan is somebody who is out there shouting from the mountaintop how good we are for whatever reason. And to create a raving fan, it's not doing the service to which they hired us to perform, whether that is a quick lube change with a car, whether that is digging a ditch and putting irrigation in, whether that is putting a swimming pool in, or financial advice, or insurance or law. It's not that. It's the things, as you well articulated, like a Chick-fil-A, a Ritz-Carlton, and many others, and perhaps even many of our listeners are currently doing. It's those little things which surprise them to say, aha, this person truly cares about me and me as a customer. Am I bingo on that?
Yeah, bingo. So a perfect example, like how would you apply this tactically in your business? This could be something simple. I meet you, Justin, for the first time. In our combos, I just, bring up, man, I love coffee. What's your favorite coffee, man? You like Starbucks? Do you?
I like Caribou. Caribou coffee is my favorite.
Caribou, right? And then it's like, hey, are you into caramel macchiatos, whatever, right? I find that out in our talks, right? Because I'm just getting to know you as a person. The next time we meet, I bring you that coffee.
Yep. I got you.
That's unexpected, right? It's unexpected. It's super easy, doesn't cost a lot of money, but makes all the difference and impact. I can share with you, because I think what's hard is principles are easy and you should build your foundation on, but how do you apply it tactically in your business?
Yeah, that's kind of where my brain's at as you're talking through this, is because I don't think any of us would disagree with exactly what you're saying. In fact, we probably have all heard that the principle of the matter. But as we're trying to create businesses, and part of what we teach about growing the value of a company is decentralization of the owner. We've got to get the owner to where they're not the ones who are at the epicenter of the business, right? And you well know this with the size of businesses that you operate, and I know this with the size of business that I operate. We've got to decentralize ourselves. So how do we put this into practice? How can the ditch digger, and because I say that because one of our most wealthy clients is a ditch digger, believe it or not, and can the ditch digger, how can the car repair company, or how can the financial advisor or the dentist or whomever is listening to this podcast, how can they put this into practice?
Love it. So I'm going to take it from the marketing route because that's my passion and expertise. And I'll share with you a framework that you can look at your marketing through. And I have now in the last 18 years that we've been doing this type of stuff, looked at, we've done over 100 million pieces of direct mail. We've done millions and millions of dollars on social media ads and advertising and content. We've done 1 billion now marketing emails. And I try to look and go, what is it about these marketing campaigns that have worked and the ones that have failed? And I really summarize, okay, the 3 pillars that you need in your marketing campaign to create a fan or top of mind awareness, someone raving about you to refer you business or come and use you. I call it FIT marketing. So I'm a marketer, so can help put everything into an acronym, right? So if your marketing's out of shape, you got to get it in shape. If you're not getting the referrals that you should be getting, you got to get those referrals. Here's a big stat. If you're a financial advisor listening to this and you're not believing that you're missing out on opportunity, 70% of widows move their account within 2 to 9 months. 2% of kids keep the parent's advisor. Women are 4 times more likely to refer than men. So there is gold in your database right now, but are you tapping into it? So FIT is FIT, and what it stands for is the F stands for frequency. And I'll give you kind of the high level of each of them, and we can go deeper if you want to on any of them. But F stands for frequency. And I chose the word frequency specifically for 2 reasons. One is the most common idea is the amount of touch points you have with somebody. So what happens in business is we're very transactional minded. So if you think about doing the unexpected, what's expected is you ask me for a service, I follow up with you, I sell you the service, I fulfill the service, and that's when you hear from me the most. When I'm trying to earn your business, you're hearing from me all the time. When I get the business, you're hearing from me ever so often. After I've completed most of the business, you never hear from me again. And then we wonder why we don't get referrals. Well, there's this thing called the loyalty gap. And what the loyalty gap is, the closer you are to the transaction, the better they think about you because you're actually delivering service. But as time gets in between the transaction and you, in that client, then what happens is that gap that's not top of mind, they don't think about you anymore. So you need to be frequent. So I have a client, a guy named Brian Harris down in Annapolis, Maryland. I share him as an example. He makes $6 million a year. I mean, that's great. I mean, I'm sure everybody listening to this will be like, that guy's freaking killing it, right? Well, he got up on stage at a conference and shared his touch point system. Do you know how many times he's touching his clients? The frequency he has 200 plus times. It blew me away. Yeah, you're like, I see your picture, like, whoa. Like, because I listened to it, I was like, that seems like craziness, 200. And he's using a bunch of our touch points. But the reason why I love him as an example, because the proof is in the pudding. He's making 6 million plus out of his business. It's growing, really successful advisor. Now, this is an analytical guy. So he's tracking everything, every email he sends, every text message, every interview, all those things he's counting as touch points. But the point I think it drives home is it's very hard to touch your clients too many times. Think about your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your best friend. You're going to be talking to them all the time. Those are touch points because it's a true relationship and it's strengthened by the amount of time you spend together. It's really hard to touch your clients in database too many times. It's extremely easy to touch them too little. And most of us, we think about our touch points like quarters, like, oh, I'll touch them maybe once a quarter, or maybe I'll do a biannual review with them. And we think that's enough. It's not. It's enough to fulfill the fundamentals of the service, but it's not enough to exceed expectations to strengthen a relationship to where they just don't become a transactional client to you. They become a relationship client, a relational client to you. So frequency, the tip I would give you practically is we find about 26 touch points a year is a good sweet spot. There's no magic number. I've heard the magic number 33. I've heard 14. I've heard it all. 26, where we started testing on that was every 2 weeks. We found that if you're in front of them, that top of mind awareness is there and you're staying in their front view where they're not forgetting about you. Frequency doesn't just stand though for the amount of touch points. It also stands for the channel of communication. So like If you think of a radio station, you might listen to country music. I might listen to hip hop, right? You're going to turn to your frequency. I'm going to turn to my frequency to get the music that I enjoy. Right. So a great tactical tip for you right now, if you're listening to this, is think about your segmentation of your database. Most of us segment our databases based upon what we want to receive from our clients. This is a hot lead because there's this much assets that I can get from this client, and we have our A list, B list, C list. That's great. Do that. Here's a trick for you. Try to segment your database based upon what your clients want from you.
What's interesting as you're talking through the frequency of the F in your fit analogy is it lies perfectly in integration. So friends, I want to bring us back to a conversation we had, it's been a few months ago on the podcast, where we talked about everything has to be pulled into a measuring or trackable event before you can even get. And then I hear this frustration for so many marketers, marketing companies like Luke. And it's not the marketing company's fault that you're not succeeding. It's the fact that you didn't segment your list. You don't even have a list possibly. You don't have an A, B, or C. You don't know what your clients like. But you're saying, well, Justin, I get that. So I need to go get all that done first before I start working with a marketing company. No, a marketing company is someone who can help you develop the frequency, develop the list, segment the list. Am I off base there, Luke, or am I right on line?
No, not at all. Yeah, that's literally, what we try to coach with clients is teaching them the different methodologies of segmenting your list, your A, B, and C list based upon what you're trying to receive, your A, B, and C list based upon the content that they want to receive from you, your A, B, and C list based upon the opportunities that these clients present to you. So Luke Acree is connected to his lawyer, to his accountant, to other business owners, right? So getting a marketing company to help you do that, fundamental. I would tell you, like in your business, if you think about leverage, right, you want to look at your business right now and go, am I touching my database 26 times a year?
Yep.
And how am I doing that? Right, is the next question. Because the I in our fit stands for impact. So you can be frequent with a piece of junk, right? I could send you the analogy I always give because I always have my pins with my logo on them. If I sent you I don't know if this is video or just audio, but if people watch the video, I'm holding up a pin with my logo on it. If I send this to you 26 times a year, it's not going to, even though it keeps my brand top of mind, it's going to have probably the opposite effect that I want. You're going to see me as the pin guy and you're going to be annoyed. Why? Because the pin is not impactful. If you want to know why marketing works, Facebook worth billions, Google billions. They're actually making their money off of marketing. But why are they successful? Because they have the data. Yep. So they're watching what you click on, they're watching what you look at, and based upon what you look at, they determine your likes and interests, and they serve up advertisements based upon what you're interested in. And because you're interested in, because it's relevant to you, you pay attention. And when you pay attention, I can serve you a marketing message that might move you to take action. So how do you apply this to your business as a financial advisor, an insurance agent, or whatever you do? You got to think, how do I create impact? How do I get relevant to my database? So the hack that I love to give, and I think not enough people are doing it, is take your CRM and pull every name and look at the names and go, all these people, if Justin's in my CRM, Luke's in my CRM, do I know the Ford methodology on Justin and Luke? Ford stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So I'm literally, if you think in practicality, I'm literally saying, do you know about Justin's family? Do you know about what he does for work, what his occupation is? Do you know about his recreation? Like, what are his hobbies? Like, if it was me in your database, I'm really into music, like you've learned today. I'm involved in my church, do you know about those things? And then do you know about my dreams? Because you as an advisor, if you want to go from a transactional business owner to a relational business owner, because the relationship is really what drives the referrals, that drives the repeat business and will grow your business, you got to get to know these people. And you've got to figure this out, and you've got to do it at scale. That's why I'm saying your CRM document. When I talk to Justin at the annual review and I don't know about his family, that's in my conversation points. Yep.
Awesome.
I'm documenting that. And then what's key about this is I can serve up marketing based upon this. I can do touch points. So one of my touch points, if it's 26 touch points and Luke's one of my clients, I could easily go and say, man, Luke's into music. I see this music article. I literally just text Luke and say, Luke, was thinking about you today, man. I saw this article about this band that's playing locally. I thought you might enjoy it. I know you're into music. Hope you're doing well, man. Yep. And you guys maybe are thinking to yourself, Well, I don't get how that connects to my business. I am telling you, man, you know this. Zig Ziglar, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. We all know that. But the like and the trust and the knowing actually comes way more about things of life than it does about your business.
So Luke, what's interesting is I don't know if you knew this, I started my first business when I was 15 years of age. And literally, I didn't even have a driver's license. My mom had to drive me from location to location. It was me, my brother, who was 13, and our dog. I mean, you can't get any more country that I'm talking about, right? And I can remember going up to this gentleman's house, and we were just at that time cutting grass. That turned into a very large business that I sold when I was 23. And I remember going to this guy's house, and he ended up being a professor at a college, at a university, a very prominent professor in the university system of Georgia. And one of the things he told me in that particular system, he said, every moment you have should be client focused. And he gave me a practical piece of advice. Again, we have to have the marketing plan. You and I would both agree on that. And yes, 26 touches, I can certainly ascertain that that is a very, very good point to begin with or start to fall on. Most people don't even do that. But you could take it as simple as, hey, I'm driving between jobs. I'm between meetings. I pick my cell phone up. I look at somebody I hadn't spoken to in the last 3 months, and I send them a message, or I quick call them, leave them a voicemail and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. Yeah. What I've even done in my own career, and I think this is paramount to the success that I've experienced, Luke, is I have a 40-minute drive home. And I had this rule that whenever I pull into my gravel driveway out in the country, we have this little paradise that I live in. When I get there, phone goes off and it's just in family time. But between my office and that period, 40 minutes, I'm going to talk to as many people as I can.
So good.
And so that's a touch point in that impact. So my word, my personal word for my life is impact. So it's interesting that it's your I there. Yeah. So as we're going through FIT, what is the T? I'm on the edge of my seat here waiting on this T.
Yeah. So the T, so I always tell people, like, look, you can be frequent with impact, but if you only do that, you're just going to get a bunch of best friends.
Yep.
And you're in this for business. So the T stands for trust. Right. And that trust is really the trust that sees you as the subject matter expert, the SME in your industry. So when I wake up today, do I see Justin as the guy who can help me with my financial investing and my financial future? That there's no one that knows more about investing in the stock market or what I need to do with my 401k or what's going on with cryptocurrency. Like, this guy is the subject matter expert. And apply that to your industry. So you're trying to become the SME in the minds of your clients, the subject matter expert. So how do you build trust? So you're building this frequency so they know about you. You're building impact by connecting on things that are relevant to them. But at the same time you do that, part of your 26 touches should be trust building touches. So there's 3 easy ways, I think, to build trust. So the first is through your accolades. So you did this for me. You mentioned the 300 million in sales. You mentioned the Inc. 5000. I did this for myself. When I was introing myself in, I said, hey, I've worked with 100,000 clients. I have 300 employees. All these are small little accolades that in the minds of you guys listening to this, it's not the end all be all, but it does make you trust me a little bit more. Okay, this guy probably knows what he's talking about. He has 300 employees. Okay, he's helped 100,000 people. Yeah, he probably knows a little bit. And so think about you. How long have you been in the business? That's a trust signal. Have you ever won an accolade like a Barron's top advisor or even a local thing? Another source of like accolades that I tell people is your charity work. Yep. Your involvement in charities can be so powerful. Don't just involve yourself in a charity for the effects it gives you from a business standpoint. But there's this thing in psychology called the halo effect, that if you associate with something good, people naturally put that association on you and everything you do. So if you don't have a charity you're supporting right now, you are missing major opportunity. And here's why. Look at the Nikes. You mentioned Apple. Look at all these massive businesses. Why are they constantly trying to put their business out there as a business of purpose, a business of impact? They're not dumb. They're beholden to the shareholders. They know, yes, they are doing good work. And yes, this is true. They want to give back to their community, but they know consumers want to do business with people of impact, people of purpose. So an accolade that you can share is, the stuff you're trying to do to help your community. And you don't even have to brag about it. You can literally do, Thanksgiving's coming up, right? You can literally do a food drive and market that in an email to your database, or send, phone call people and say, hey, I'm raising awareness for Agape down in the city and want to, collect any extra canned goods. You'll be blown away what that does for people from a trust standpoint and who you are. So you got accolades. You got to be careful of accolades, though, in your content, your touch points, because, you guys are probably even getting tired of hearing me talk about myself, right? You get tired of hearing the person talk about themselves. So the second way to build trust in your content is through what your clients say about you. So in the financial arena, you weren't able to do this for the longest time, and you're just now starting to be able to do this. But in every other industry, it's really common. If you think about you buying a product on Amazon, right, and you search for products on Amazon and multiple pop up, what do you immediately look to?
Look at the reviews.
Yeah, you immediately look towards the reviews. What are clients saying about this? And you trust the 5 stars over the 2 stars. Right. And so the same applies for your content marketing of how are you showcasing in your drip program that clients love you, what they're saying about you, the experiences they've had, whether it's testimonials, case studies, those type of things. And then the last way is the hardest to do consistently, but I think the best. How long did you say you've been doing this podcast for?
Oh, Lord. I think it's almost been 5 years now. We're at 438 episodes or something like that.
Man, amazing. So you are an exact example of this last pillar, which is educational content. Free, valuable educational content. The fact that you've been doing it for 5 years, putting it out over and over again, I bet you anything, people who listen to you all the time have a great trust in you. They have a great trust in your ability to help them in their business, to help them prosper, to help them get pointed in the right direction. That didn't come from one episode. It came from a consistency of putting out educational content that elevated your trust. I'm wearing my podcast shirt, so I have a podcast as well. And the same thing, it's like the first 3 years of our podcast, nobody listened. Now it's like our number one lead generator for us, because I wanted to put out free educational content on marketing and sales, that if you were looking for sales tips and marketing tips to grow your business, hey, I've got a ton of free content for you, interviewing top producers, picking their brain on their best marketing tips. And because I put out this educational content for free for years and years, I think we're at the same time frame, like 4 or 5 years, it has built so much trust and credibility amongst my sphere, amongst my database. And think about it this way, a podcast is just a medium. You can do educational content through seminars, through emails, through blogging, through social media, through podcasting. And if you're looking for, Luke, how do I come up with this content, this educational content? Easiest way is to sit down and write out your FAQs, your frequently asked questions. Write those out and you'll have content for days, probably.
So what's amazing to me is in your acronym FIT, right? Frequency, impact, and trust. What I'm reminded of is very similar to getting in shape. It's very similar to growing a business. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And I know we business owners we're a tenacious lot. We want things yesterday that we're thinking about 4 years from now, right? We can often see ourselves in the future already living the persona of where our business is aspiring to be. We can see that now. Many times we lose our employees or our stakeholders, our customers that way, in terms of losing we jump far in front of them on their vision. But whenever we think about fit and this idea of marketing, it's a process. In order to build frequency, impact, and trust, you have to have a plan, you have to enact the plan, and you have to continue the plan of fit. So I love the way you did that. I love the way your acronym, man, brother, you and I speak the same language. So that's powerful. Friends, I hope that fit analogy will resonate with you as you're looking at your business, because marketing does work. It works. I was thinking just then, as you were talking about trust, when I started the podcast now 400 plus episodes years ago now, it wasn't to gain customers. That wasn't my intention. My intention was as my spiritual gift is teaching. I love to teach. I put a podcast out there where it's me learning. And as I'm learning, I'm sharing what I'm learning. I'm doing research. I'm data points out. Well, not only did it drive customers, but it ended up being a point to where current clients and customers and employees could hear what I thought. And the tribe began to get smaller, but more valuable and more intimate and more of a family unit. And at the same time, began winning awards nationally, being recognized on stage, asked to do things that I never would have happen without that approach that you just outlined of fit. So, Luke, brother, I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
As we kind of wrap this thing down, as we bring this podcast to a close, there's two questions that I often ask everybody. And one is, as business owners, we are constantly having to learn new things. I got to believe that with the position that you're in right now, the reputation that you have built for yourself and that God's given you, I got to believe you're not static. So is there a certain educational piece that you're empowering yourself with? Maybe it's a book, a podcast, or something that you feel other business owners might need to know about?
Yeah. So, well, I think the best book for business is the Bible, not to get religious on people, but I truly do. Even if you're not, a person of faith, I would absolutely encourage you, go read the book of Proverbs. That book alone in the Bible will change the game, because business is all about people, and it will teach you so much about wisdom and people. But to give you kind of a podcast that I listen to as well, that I think is really amazing, or has been amazing for me, is Ed Milet's podcast. So, and I've picked up his book, The Power of One More. Haven't gotten all the way through it yet, but it's been phenomenal so far. And the reason why I love his podcast is because there's so many things that I can learn technically, but if you don't have your mindset right and you don't have your center focus, then you'll never apply. And I always have realized in my life, like, if I'm not really growing, it's because something is off in my body, mind, and spirit. And it usually is because of what I'm feeding myself. And there's a whole, topic we could go down. I won't chase that rabbit trail, but Ed Milet and his book and his podcast has been awesome to center me, to get me motivated to take action on learning the technical things that help me grow my business.
Well, we'll certainly add a link to that in the show notes, friends, to the podcast and the book, so you can check out what Luke's referring to. I've listened to the podcast. It's one of mine on my quick list when I'm traveling. It's very powerful. So I can second that particular notion. So, Luke, one of the questions that I think that we as business owner have is the ability to impact. So I often ask this question: if today was your last day on earth, with all the history that you have, all the experiences that you have, the knowledge that you have, everything that's made Luke Acree who you are today, right? What would be that one nugget, that one piece of advice to this group of audience? Now, just to set the stage as you're thinking about this, the folks who are listening to the podcast is a plethora. It's a broad range. You do have solopreneurs. There are a ton of financial advisors that listen to the podcast. We're talking thousands, but there also are business owners who are running, 8-figure businesses, 9-figure businesses that are tuned to the podcast. I have the opportunity to speak with them frequently. You have a ton of mom and pops who may have 3, 5, 6 employees. They're in the service industry. They're out there. I mean, this is the salt of the earth. These are our peeps, man. I mean, these are the folks that gird up their loins every day, wade into the fire, and just like take names, right? These are the folks that we're talking to here. So with that in mind, what would be that one nugget? That one nugget you say, man, if I could leave y'all with anything, this is it.
Whew, that's a tough question, man. Here's what came to my heart first is, and I've had to learn this the hard way. You don't get out of life what you expect. You get out of life what you accept. And, I'll let that resonate with people, but so often in business, we set goals, right? And we do all these things and we set these big visions, and all that is good and important. But the reality is you can set out and expect a bunch of stuff, but it really comes down to, what are you willing to accept? Are you willing to accept out of you not waking up early, not putting in your calls, not focusing on creating that 26 touch point plan? Like, if you think about it, when you get off this podcast, are you willing to accept that you heard a nugget and you didn't implement it? That's what it really boils down to. It's like, you're going to get out of your life what you accept. Are you willing to accept the friends that you have? Are you willing to accept the health that you have? Are you willing to accept the work ethic that you have? You don't get out of life what you expect. You get out of life what you accept.
Brother, that is powerful. I would certainly agree with that statement. Certainly agree. I've never heard it framed that way, but I'm gonna be writing that as some blog post here in the near future. And I'll be crediting you with that. That's very powerful. I appreciate that. Luke, man, you've been a world of wisdom today. I love the fit. When I heard you mention that in the previous meeting that you and I were part of, I was like, dude, that is powerful. So simple, so concise. And you're right. Business owners, I mean, we're carrying a lot of weight. We have a lot of things we have to deal with, but marketing is one of those things that we just have to do. We have to do it. And we know we have to do it. So, a lot of different people listen to the podcast, a lot of different professions. And I know that your company, with the size company that you have a lot of different venues, customers that you can serve. How would somebody who says, man, the touch points, I need to figure out how to create touch points. Do you have any products or services that can help me, some coaching that can help me? Where would you direct people to learn more about you, your company, the products, and how you help drive this fit concept among business owners?
Yeah, I would love to connect with everybody who's listening. So you can find my company at remindermedia.com. And then any social media, if you probably type in Reminder Media, you'll see us. And then I'd love to connect with you personally on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook. You can find me at Luke Acree. My last name is Acre with an extra E, so Acree. But I would love to connect with you there. Even if you don't use our products and services, but you need help with marketing, it's my passion. It's what I wake up every single day and do. So it's fun to me to help you solve your problems or hear how your ideas that have worked for you. So if you DM me, I'll get back to you, and I'd love to connect.
Thank you so much, Luke. Thanks for being here today, brother. That's very powerful information. And friends, we'll take all those touch points that Luke just shared. We'll put those in the show notes so you can just quickly click on those and connect with Luke. I highly recommend you do that. One of my missions that I had when I started this podcast was to teach business owners how to drastically improve the value of your company, how to take this thing that consists of 80% of our net worth and build it to a position that we can realize our dream of taking this golden goose that we're all aspiring to build and convert it from an illiquid asset to a liquid asset. That's the purpose of this podcast. And as I've been doing this for the last 5 years, the pursuit of marketing is often the single most weak thing in business owners' repertoire. And that's why in my 8 segments of business, you see me put marketing separate from sales. We all know how to sell. We know our product. We know our service. We really know our customer, but we have a hard time getting in front of that perfect persona on a regular basis. So marketing, that's why I dedicated a chapter in my book, Your Baby's Ugly, to this title of marketing. You got to have marketing paramount, and it should be leading. It should be leading your entire business, not as an add-on to your business. It permeates through every area of your business. So whenever I heard Luke talk about the fit concept and the way that he simplified that, I knew I had to have him on the show, friends, so that you can continue to drive the value of your business. And look, I realize that being a business owner is hard. I think Luke and I would both agree with that. It's doggone hard. It's hard. Being a business owner is hard. There's no other word for it. And it can be frustrating sometimes. It can drive us to the point where we just want to just hide in the mountains of Colorado like I did last week. Just get away from everything. It gets frustrating sometimes. But aren't we a blessed people? Aren't we a blessed people that we can sit back and we can say, yeah, we realize it's hard. We realize it's frustrating, but it is good. We have the opportunity as business owners to impact not only our customers or our clients, but also our team, our vendors, and even the community abroad, as well as our family. We have the opportunity with this thing of goodness, this business that God's entrusted us with, to impact so many. So though it may be hard, though it may be frustrating, it is good. So I leave you with this, as I always do. I'm sure go out and make it. You got to make it. Make it a great day. Till next time, friends.